Instead of just escaping, what if you took time to reevaluate your life back home? What do you like about yourself on these trips that is missing from your life back home? Maybe you're more adventurous. Maybe you're more spontaneous. Maybe you're more excited to try new things. Maybe you're more social than you are back home. There are bits and pieces of yourself that are actually true, and we just rediscover them when we travel. Almost every day, I do a few of the same exact things. I get woken up by my sunrise alarm clock. I always open the windows, put on something cozy, come downstairs, make my first cup of coffee, and usually have a piece of sourdough toast. This is a simple routine. It's not overly complicated, but it really helps me feel settled into my day. And I'm sure your life is very similar. You have things that you do every day. I think the interesting part about routines is that in one sense, they can be a superpower, and in the other sense, they can be a trap. For me, my routines are sacred, and I will go out of my way to preserve them. I've changed my schedule or said no to social plans because in certain moments, my routine felt that important to me. There's something really beautiful about keeping some of these moments the same, day in, day out, week in, week out, seasonally, yearly, all of these things. We depend on these routines for a sense of normalcy and security. But what happens when your routine starts to dull your own life? Every once in a while, I become so tired of my routine and tired of the person I become inside of that routine. I start to feel lost and aimless. I start to feel like I don't have purpose, like the things I'm doing aren't grand, beautiful, and interesting, and memorable. See, sometimes routine can be this thing that crutches you up. It doesn't advance your personality, it doesn't grow your mindset, it doesn't change your beliefs. In fact, sometimes your routine can become a cycle that slowly dwindles your own life. So what do we do about this? How do we shake things up? Well, for me, and I think for a lot of people out there, the answer to that has always been traveling. When you get on a plane and you enter a new world, so much changes for you. Even if it's just for a few days, something in my brain shifts to be open, to be free, to be fun, to look for excitement and adventure, to see normal rhythms like getting up and having my first coffee as a piece of art and not just survival. There's something about sipping a cappuccino in an Italian square, or making chai when you're in Delhi, or finding these really beautiful spaces with beautiful culture, beautiful artifacts. It's that displacement of pulling yourself out of one context and putting yourself in another that awakens this excitement, this energy. I find when I'm away, when I'm traveling, I have more space and time to reflect. I'm more honest about my reflection. The true desires of my life and my heart, they shine through so brightly. I've come back from trips destined and determined to change my life for the better. This year, as I plan my trips, both close to home and very far from home, I'm bringing this mindset with me of how can I better ruin my routine. A few years ago, I spent the summer in Montana. I was just turning 30. I was burnt out from work. My friend and I had started a coffee company. We were a couple years in, working 7 days a week, open to close, constantly stressed, constantly poor. And we hit this moment where we needed to basically promote someone to manage the shop. But there wasn't really a space or a role for me to fill at that time. And I was hitting this wall of burnout where I just had such a pessimistic view of my life. I hated my work. I hated what I was doing. I hated how I was doing it. And I felt trapped. I think that's the greatest fear of my life, is to be trapped in a world that I don't want, or trapped in a life that I don't want. And basically I found this opportunity out in Glacier National Park to run a small coffee program out of a kind of hotel resort campus. And something inside me just clicked with that. It said, you know what? Let's promote this person to the job that I have. I'll leave the company for a few months, receive no pay, and figure it out when I get back. I was so lucky to have a business partner who supported that and who saw that it was what I needed. And so for 4 months, I took my little car and drove the 38 something hours out to Montana. And there I basically had a nice little social experiment where I was at a new place with new people, and I got to determine who I was, how I lived, and what my life looked like. This is the moment that I realized that so much of my bad habits and my bad routines were simply because I was too taxed or just too burnt out to make any adjustments. See, I found myself out in Montana writing music constantly, running and working out constantly, eating pretty well and pretty balanced, being very social, finding new weekend adventures. I would take my car for just 2 days and drive to another park nearby, whether that was Yellowstone or up into Banff or Calgary or something like that. Like I was living. And when I returned home after that 4 months, I realized that I could change my life by changing my routine and by occasionally shaking the whole thing up. What I'm realizing this year in 2026 is that, one, I can step out whenever I want to. It doesn't have to be some international trip to Europe or some road trip out to Montana. There are ways to build these reliefs into your life. Maybe it's blocking off a random day and just getting out of your town or your city, driving an hour somewhere just to have a new experience. For me, here in Philadelphia, easy answers are upstate New York and, of course, the beach. And the beach out of season can be extremely peaceful. But the point is to just break the guardrails in your life. So if you live in a city, get out of the city, get some open space, get some open air, hear some peace and quiet, and use that as an opportunity to refocus your life. Point is, you can take a break whenever you need to. You just have to make it happen. So, maybe that's using a PTO day. I would recommend doing it during the week, when people aren't going to try and fill that day with social plans or things like that. And it could be half a day. Maybe it's you get up super early and head out somewhere and you're there half the day. But you can break out of your space whenever you want. And I think a lot of times we don't think we can. The second thing is, what do you do when you travel? It's not just where are you traveling, what foods are you trying, but what if you were more intentional about the things you were thinking about while you were out of your normal space? So when you take that next trip, are you really looking at your life back home instead of just escaping? What if you took time to reevaluate your life back home? What do you like about yourself on these trips that is missing from your life back home? Maybe you're more adventurous. Maybe you're more spontaneous. Maybe you're more excited to try new things. Maybe you're more social than you are back home. There are bits and pieces of yourself that are actually true, and we just rediscover them when we travel. One of the most beautiful parts about traveling are those moments of self-realization and self-reflection. Take a journal with you or type in your notes app at the end of the day. What did you like about who you were today? What did you like about how you acted? What rhythms did you try today that you would love to bring back home? All of these moments are special and unique, and you can use them to improve your life back home every single day. You loved your morning cappuccino when you were walking around the streets of Rome? Well, what if you made a morning cappuccino every day at home before your day got started? There are little things like that that can greatly improve the quality of your life. So when you travel, be sure to think and take as many pieces as you can back with you. If you're like me, you want to live a big life. You want to see the world, experience new foods, new cultures, see all the incredible things that nature has to offer, and you want your day-to-day life to be just as big and beautiful. So whether you're doing weekend trips, day trips, or living abroad for a month, I hope that you'll take every day, every moment, as a chance not just to escape your life, but to make it the one you've always dreamt of. I hope you'll stick around here as, I try and make this life off the clock the best life possible through travel, through food, and through connections. This is a space to grow and develop and make those daily routines ruined, but for the better. Until next time.